Hello and welcome to Death, 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 the podcast about death, dying, and how it relates to us, the living. My name is Jordan Bulges. As always, I'm with
Jasmine Rayburn.
And Rowdy Robert Irvin. I'm coming for the belts.
Bonesaw.
Ready. Ooh, yeah.
Shit, I really regret my intro now.
Oh, yeah. Rowdy Robert
Should have
Irvin.
done the whole thing like a wrestling promo.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm the cream of the crop.
Hello and welcome to Death, 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 the podcast about death, dying, and how it relates to us, the living, brother.
I'm calling you out, Jordan Bulges. That title belt is mine.
I will see you in the squared circle.
You guys are gonna give yourselves aneurysms.
It's a
Probably,
good thing you
yeah.
gave us water before.
Infused water. Yummy.
Fancy.
All right, well, what are we talking about this week?
Well, I think a good way to put it is talking about life and how that leads to good death, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll formally call this episode Life, Life, Life.
Life. Life, life.
Life. Bow, 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 bow.
So today we're going to be covering regrets of the dying, what kind of choices can lead to kind of a peaceful death, and also kind of discussing our own regrets, our own.
I have none.
If we were gonna die tomorrow, what will we change about our life? And also briefly deathbed confessions.
I have a good article here, which is the 9 most common regrets people have at end of life. If we want to talk about that.
Yeah, I've been going kind of like the top 5 regrets of the dying, because that's like there was like a book based on it. This palliative nurse wrote a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
So but it could be different than your list as well.
Oh,
so,
probably. I'm sure there's some crossover.
Definitely.
Why don't you go with yours, and I'll see if there's, because I have 9 here.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all pretty much.
There's overlap even in the list that I have here.
I'll just go through it very quickly, and then we can kind of talk about them individually. So number 1, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
Because I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. 4, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. 5, I wish I'd let myself be happier. And those are the 5, and those are the ones that probably anyone who's seen this has kind of seen them around. It's like a bit of a common trope.
I don't think
Yeah.
any of those are really surprising.
No,
No.
not at all. And what
Sweet.
about yours? Any differences there?
Not a ton. There's one here that resonates with me a little, is I wish I had taken more risks. I think that's a good one. It applies to a lot of things. It can apply to, like, maybe you're in a job you don't love,
Yeah.
but you don't want to risk moving to something you're not familiar with that you would love a lot more.
So
Yeah,
that's
making
kind
a
of
big
like
change.
the courage to live a life true to myself, but a little bit more specific.
Yeah, and like along those lines is
Yeah.
like I wish I had lived my own dream,
Yeah.
as opposed to like maybe you're living for your family, which is some
Yeah.
people's dream for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you're making too many sacrifices for your family and not pursuing something that you really love.
Yeah, or being
Yeah.
honest with yourself about
You're living
what
someone
you want.
else's dream.
Yeah.
And then another one is I wish I'd done more for others.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't understand that one,
Yeah,
but
that's over my head.
sure,
Weird.
to each their
I
own.
wish I'd done less for others.
Yeah. I feel like I give too much.
Yeah.
I'm too nice.
And then this one is like kind of along the lines of like previous ones we've mentioned is I wish I'd chosen work that was more meaningful to me.
Yeah.
When someone is doing something for, if someone's in one career for, say, 55 years of their life, and they end up on their deathbed realizing that they didn't like it,
Yeah. It's
and what do they get from it other than monetary compensation?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So
That can be-
as relatively young people, have any of these kind of stood out?
The taking more risks one, definitely. I feel like I've lived a very complacent and conflict-free life, you know?
I mean, you just left one industry
I
to
did.
go into another.
So I'm
But that's new.
starting.
Yeah.
I'm starting.
yeah.
But I was in and I was in an industry I didn't really enjoy. I mean, I really love cooking, but I was in the industry itself
Yeah.
that I didn't really enjoy for like a decade. And it took me that long to realize that I'm not really happy here. So that was a huge risk that I took. But that was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's still more I could do. Like I feel like I didn't take the risk in traveling more when I was in like my early 20s, which is when I had more freedom to do it. So yeah, like stuff like that. Definitely.
It's just easier to do stuff like that when you're not established as well.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the traveling I did in my early 20s. Now I've got a fucking cat and furniture and bills and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I always told myself, it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna travel now in my 20s, like my early 20s, but that's because that's the kind of traveling I don't want to do, where you're backpacking.
Oh,
and
yeah?
you're slumming it.
That was good,
And it's
though.
like I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'll build myself up, and I'll have a good enough career that I'll be able to go travel in a more relative comfortability in my later life. And I still really want to do that, but I feel like I could have done both.
yeah.
I could have traveled young and slummed it and done the backpacking thing and do what I'm eventually going to do.
You honestly appreciate it more.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like
believe it.
you have some freedom when you're kind of doing the slumming it.
Slumming it, quote unquote.
Yeah. Backpacking and kind of staying in shitholes for nothing and
Yeah.
eating street food and, you know, and then you come back later when you can get a hotel and you can you really like understand like how valuable of a learning experience that was to not be separated from what was going on around you. You know, like you're forced to interact with other people, you're forced to like put yourself in kind of vulnerable situations and engage on a level that you don't really have to do if you're just going from hotel to hotel, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely value in putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and stuff like that, and getting out of your comfort zone.
That being said, now I'll take the hotel.
Yeah.
I like beds.
That's for a younger person.
Yeah, exactly. Glad I did it, but fuck.
I mean, I didn't do a lot of traveling, and I always kind of felt that way. And like a big part of that, I think, was like when I was in university, it was just like that was the focus.
Yeah.
And then when summer would come around, I would just like work, like I'd pave, and I'd make as much money as I could to pay for the next semester of university, and then I would be going to school full time and working a part time job and having like this little cleaning business and stuff like that. And I remember that always being like, okay, well, after university, I'm gonna like do some traveling and that, because I would like be going to school with people that I don't know how they did it, but they'd go like 2 trips a year while going to university and stuff like that. I'm like,
Parents are rich.
I mean, I think
true.
I think some of that is definitely the case. I don't know I'm not gonna say it's true for everybody,
No.
but I think that was definitely part of it. But then looking back and on hindsight, I've also lived in like 9 different cities or something like that over my life, and like all of them are in Canada, but they're all over Canada and
Still,
stuff
yeah.
like that. And in the last couple of years, coming out here and living in Kamloops before this, and like, so you do like I did start doing a little bit of that, but it's a different viewpoint of traveling, I guess. It's not just going and like seeing a place and moving around and like staying at a place for a week. I've done a little bit of that, but it's more went and lived somewhere for 6 months.
Yeah, going there and
Somewhere
living
else.
the local lifestyle.
Yeah.
See, that's what I put off, right? Like it was very much an either or. I didn't get to go travel and go to school. I couldn't afford it. I didn't have, you know, so I made the choice to travel instead. But Canada was always that was the thing. I was like, oh, I'll do that when I'm older.
Yeah.
Because I won't have to worry about, because a lot of visas or working holiday visas in the Commonwealth, you can't apply for them after you turn 30.
Really?
Yeah. So,
I didn't know that.
That's interesting.
or I think like Australians can work here till they're 32 on a working holiday visa, but we can only work till like 30 there.
Bullshit.
And it's like for 6 months at a time, and then you have to switch jobs, and then you have to do like 6 months of farm work before you can renew.
I only got 1 year left then.
Yeah. So you
Fuck.
should do it. Or New Zealand as well. I think it's very similar. But so I was always like, I'm going to travel developing countries, and I still haven't seen nearly as much as I wanted to. You know, I'm going to travel developing countries that I can afford. And you know, like I spent 5 months in India with like $4,000 or something. So
Wow.
it was lean, real lean. But it was, you know, it's in India, right? So I could afford it barely. But, you know, I definitely feel like there's a lot of Canada I haven't seen because of that.
Just don't drive across the prairies. It's not worth
I've
it.
done that the Greyhound from Jasper, Alberta to Regina. I've done that like at least 16 times.
My God.
And they go up through Edmonton to do it. Oh, wow. I can't do that anymore. I don't have it in me.
No.
I'm burnt out of it. But at the same time, I'm approaching my 30s and I don't have a degree. So that has its own separate set of challenges and regrets.
Like that was,
Fair enough.
like I dicked around a little bit in my early 20s. I wasn't sure what I was really going to do. And then I kind of just applied to university on a whim and then got it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to
Seemed
university.
like the right thing to do.
Yeah. And so that was, and then I did become kind of very focused in that way of like, all right, this is what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
Art and that kind of stuff.
I felt the same way getting out of culinary. And that's a big reason that I didn't switch careers for so long. Because, like, I paid for this. And,
Yeah.
like, I am still paying for it. And my family helped pay for it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I have to make cooking work.
Yeah, I committed to this.
You know,
now.
like, I've
Yeah.
committed to it. I've spent X years just going to school for it.
Yeah.
And now I'm out of it. And that was, like, my biggest fear leaving was, like, what the fuck is my family going to think?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? I don't
Well, yeah.
I don't care what the people around me and my friends in the industry think. Like, they all agree that I wasn't happy.
But you started when you were what, 18?
Yeah, fresh out of high
You
school.
know, like, shit, you don't know anything
Yeah.
about yourself.
No.
And you know, like, so I mean, so many people have that experience, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like, they pick something when they're a child.
If I would have gone to university right when I was 18, like I didn't go, I think I was 21, 22. If I would have went when I was 18, I would have picked something completely different.
Yeah.
Specifically out of the like, okay, well, it's got to be something that makes me a decent amount of money or something like that. Or something, it would have been something that didn't make me happy.
Like what?
I don't know. I have no idea what that would have been.
Yeah.
Because I think about the other classes that I did enjoy in university, and they're like political science and like
Yeah.
No, it makes me doing that
history
shit.
and
Yeah.
like that kind of shit.
You would have been a
It's
teacher.
like
Communications.
philosophy. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I would have.
You would have absolutely been a teacher, I think.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's what-
Picture it.
Man, people tell me that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't have the passion for that. I don't think I'd be a good teacher because of that.
Fair enough. But I could see you as
University,
like,
maybe.
just like a really like disengaged
Yeah,
teacher.
that's true. I could do
cool
that.
teacher guy.
Cool pottery teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
He's always smoking weed.
Yeah, just do whatever. I don't know.
I just make a thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm taking a nap.
None of this
Just
matters.
don't huff the glaze.
Don't
Or
huff
do.
all
I'm
of it.
not your
Just
dad.
save me some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I don't regret doing a lot of traveling in my early 20s. I also like had really simple finances, right? I would just save up, spend the money I had till it was gone, and then come home. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have to deal with like student debt. Now I just have wedding debt.
Yeah.
I was like, I get to have wedding debt. I don't have university
Yeah,
debt. It's
yeah.
fine. Like one or the other.
Good way of looking at it, I guess. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's really irresponsible.
No, it's fine.
But you know, it was a choice, you know. So but it's a trade off, you know. Although I don't regret the travel, trying to figure out how to like be in the workforce as somebody who's kind of aging out of fields that are accessible for people without degrees, you know, because it's just like I am sick of being told what to do all the time. I am sick of like it's like I have done my time. I've done every shitty job you could possibly imagine. I've taken sexual harassment. I have been like dicked around in every way possible in the workforce because I don't have that piece of paper and I don't have any bargaining tools
Yeah.
to get better treatment. So figuring out what I want to do with my life after the traveling stopped and not having any like resources, like
Yeah.
shit, you know, like. So I
Back
can't
to,
really say.
back to reality.
Well, yeah, like it's like, oh yeah, I thought I was gonna die, but
Well,
I
there goes
didn't.
gravity.
And now here, nice. It's like now I have to actually like figure out how to live in this world.
I think that's a larger problem of stability within just where our society's at now with like gig work culture and stuff
Oh,
like that, where
totally.
that's just become a growing problem.
Wage
for,
slavery.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that do have degrees can't get jobs with those degrees and things like that as
Yeah.
well. Or you might be a teacher and you're severely underpaid being a teacher, so then you have to get a second job to make ends meet and like that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's
Like
weird.
It's getting harder and harder for anybody to kind of escape a lot of that stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the same shit as people I know with degrees. You know, fortunately, I have a lot of work experience, which is good.
Yeah.
But you know, like I'm looking around because I dog walk and I do out of school care, which is like jobs that people do in their early 20s. I love it. It's honestly like the best time I've ever had working, but it's like obviously doesn't pay very much, and you
You
know,
get to hang out with cute, cuddly puppies.
my life is a dream.
Yeah.
It's great.
You're like a Disney
I make
princess.
a decent amount of money. Like it's not. I know people who are working harder for less.
Yeah.
which is great for me. But, you know, it's tricky because it's like, I just got lucky, you know? Like, I don't really know what the right move is for people because it's like, oh, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And it's like, well, you lived in a time, like when you're talking about people who are primarily elderly, you're talking about their life regrets where it's like they could pay off their house in like 3 years or something, you know, like.
Yeah, like the average household salary has risen by, I think, $10K in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
nothing.
enough. Yeah.
No.
But
cost of living.
the average cost of a home has risen like 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So like a $70,000 house in Toronto costs $700,000
Yeah.
now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to
So
take
that
like ownership of
disparity
that
is huge.
regret, right? And be like, I regret working so much when it's like you had no fucking choice. That
Yeah.
was that's what you had to do to have a family at all.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, it's talking about deathbed regrets. It's interesting because it is also, it's these people talking about their lives that have taken place over the last, you know, however many decades, and things have changed and slowly evolved. So like by the time we reach that age, our regrets might be different
Yeah.
just because of our circumstance, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or they might be the same regardless of the circumstance.
Well, for example, like a lot of these people, according to this article, it's the Huffington Post article about 5 Regrets of the Dying, about the book. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Was a regret that primarily came from men because they were the breadwinners, right?
Yeah.
You know, the female spouses, they got time with their kids.
Yeah.
They got to be there for the plays and do the shit, you know, but because it was so separate, you know, a lot of these men missed out on their family life because they were providing, and that's a generational thing
Yeah,
as
so
well.
that's one thing that will change, where now it'll be both men and women talking
Will
about how they work
regret.
too much.
Yeah, or it'll
Too
be a
much.
little bit more evenly split, at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. So we kind of talked about. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. When you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it ties into the same subject.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily work related. That could be like the regret of a dying gay man who never came out, or woman,
Yeah.
you know, who just couldn't overcome the social pressures
Yeah.
and was never allowed to truly be themselves.
Or like wanted to be an artist, but took
Needed
over
to-
his dad's car wash instead
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to like let down
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Feeling, that's one regret that I don't have, just because
Yeah.
I have always kind of been like,
You pursued your art.
yeah, and just like
Mhm.
in general, who I am. Well, I say always, but like as a teenager,
High school is different.
like I kind of started figuring out who I was
Yeah.
as a teenager, like in high school, and then kind
I
of
feel like high school is just guilt and regret
Yeah.
just perfectly distilled.
yeah,
So
it's such a
can't
weird
think about
time.
it.
yeah, it's a weird time to be alive. So that I feel like that doesn't count. That's when everyone's figuring out their shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's who you choose to live as coming out of
For
middle
sure.
school and high school and college.
And you grow. I think you grow so much in your 20s too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
learn so
totally.
much, and so it is a constant process of figuring that out of who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah.
Specifically, but if you are focusing on that, I think that's the important thing of trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to try to figure it out, but it's really hard when you don't have supportive family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are not supporting your kind of exploration of self, you know.
Yeah, I have always had a pretty supportive family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's never been an issue.
And
for
not
me.
just saying you could do whatever you want to do as well, but like actively taking steps to
Yeah,
support them
supporting,
towards
yeah,
their
for sure.
dreams. If you don't have even if you don't have the means to support education or something, but taking steps, going to events,
and
doing
yeah,
things
and
like
whenever
that.
you can, and that is I've been lucky in that way personally with my family.
My family was very like you could do whatever you want to do, but they like never
Actually, yeah,
like they never put me in classes
Just
or
that
anything.
kind of
like,
platitude
yeah,
of-
they were
yeah.
just like, you're responsible for your own, and I'm just like, well, I'm a teenager, so I'm gonna do nothing because I'm fucking lazy
Yeah.
because I'm a teenager.
yeah, because I don't,
Yeah.
I don't
You
know how
know?
the world works yet. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And then
what
I
to do.
just like I got to the real world and I was like, oh, shit, like I don't have any
Oh,
skills
Apathy.
at all.
Apathy doesn't cut it here.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
No one cares how much I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Darn it.
It's not gonna get
It's
you
not
anywhere.
cool anymore.
Yeah.
Traveling was I'm glad because I never stopped learning, at least, you know, even if I don't have anything like to show for it on my resume.
Still life experience.
I learned a lot. When I was in India, I read I'd read like 25 books or something. And most of it was just like history and you know, like I was like, holy shit, like I'm really getting an education here, and you're actively learning all the time. So at least my brain wasn't dying. I
Yeah.
wasn't like sitting in a basement somewhere like rotting away.
Yeah, no, it's still
losing my
experiencing things
personality.
and learning life lessons and things like that, which is as important. And I think also, if you're comparing it to going to school, that's as much important in like university or something like that as well. You do get exposed to a lot.
Yeah, you need to be around different types of thinkers.
Yeah,
right?
and different kinds of people and different experiences, and you know, people have had different experiences, and you start to kind of learn from them as well, and the people you're around.
Yeah, it's really important. Even moving to Banff when I was like 18, I was meeting people from other countries for the first time. I didn't know anything about anything, you know? Like, I didn't know anything besides Canada. I didn't know anything besides my small town in Saskatchewan. It was like, it was really bizarre how little I didn't know. And just, like, problematic shit, I would say. And, like,
yeah,
because I
well-
was just, like, an ignorant yokel.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, like, yeah, so yeah, I feel that heavy. I said a lot of dumb shit when I was like 15, 16 years old to like my stepdad or my mom. It's just like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I've laid in bed countless nights not being able to sleep or just about to fall asleep, and then all of a sudden a memory of some stupid thing I said
yeah,
10 years ago
some
comes into my head, and I'm like,
stupid hurtful shit that I
Yeah.
said to my stepdad or my
Yeah.
mom, and it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
oh god, I feel like I've apologized for all of it like 1,000 times, but still not enough.
I know. It's rough when it's, like,
Yeah.
people who are trying to help you out.
Yeah. What about give me your hot take on this one? I wish I'd taken better care of myself.
Oh, shit. That's my number one regret,
Yeah.
like, in my life.
I'm like just starting now.
Yeah, shit.
Another thing I'm
I got
just starting
so many
to do.
fucking cavities, you guys. Like,
Yeah. Man,
my teeth look nice, but they have secrets.
I have secret holes in my teeth too. Don't worry, you're not alone.
I've never had a cavity.
No,
Fuck you.
you liar.
How dare you?
No, I've never had a cavity.
How dare you?
Rude.
I
That's
think
just rude.
Yeah.
I learned a couple years ago that there's like people with a certain kind of teeth that they are just
Yeah.
more protected towards that.
Rude,
I've-
rude, she says,
yeah.
chomping on chocolate-covered
Yeah.
coffee beans.
I'm not even gonna floss later. like,
That's the other thing is that I also, even as a kid, didn't eat a lot of sweets or anything like
Yeah.
that either. I was.
I don't
never
have a huge
really-
sweet tooth either, but I think it's just bad dental hygiene and
Yeah, I'm
being,
not
being
saying.
an asshole to my body in
Yeah,
general.
I'm not saying I have
Yeah.
great dental hygiene, but
Yeah.
I'd
It-
say mine's middle of the road. You know, I don't brush 3 times a day, but I usually get to 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't floss twice a day, but usually once.
I try for 2,
Yeah.
but I get so lazy
I
in,
just-
in the evening.
Like pass out
So
in my
lazy.
makeup, wake up looking like Alice Cooper.
Yeah. Nice.
Have to throw my pillowcase in the garbage. Like I'm better now. Like I'm much healthier now. I exercise a lot and make healthier choices. But like for years, I don't even think I like had a glass of water. I was just an alcoholic. I just drank all
Yeah.
the time, drank coffee.
Yeah, it's a big one.
yeah,
You know,
And,
obviously
like-
smoking.
Aside from that, like mental self-care as well.
Yeah.
Is a new thing that I'm doing.
yeah.
Is just like taking time for myself and
Mm-hmm.
doing what I want, not working myself into the grave. Jordan, what do you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's easy to
I'm just
like.
racing the grave.
Yeah.
You know? Either I'll be successful before I die, or I'll
You
just work
can't beat
myself to
me.
death.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, it's like really easy to be hard on your body when your mind isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like I did that shit to myself because I hated myself and I
Yeah.
didn't think I
Yeah.
deserved to take care of myself.
But yeah, I mean, if I was on my deathbed, and guaranteed I'd be tired then too. One of my big regrets would be like not getting 8 hours of sleep, at least 5 days a week.
God, it
Yeah.
drives you crazy. You go a little bit insane. Like
Go mad
all of the worst fights that Adam and I have ever had has been because I've been sleep deprived.
or hungry.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming.
I'm not really hungry a lot of the time.
No.
But no, it's
It's not a huge issue for me, that one right now.
you are so much when you're sleep deprived. You're so much quicker to get angry
Well, that's
and
the
have
thing.
those kind
It's
of
just
responses.
The threshold just breaks so much easier, and obviously, I'm always just hyper vigilant when I'm with dogs or children
Mm-hmm.
because they're under my care. So it's like by the time I get home, I've been kind of holding that line all day,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
keeping it together, and then Adam gets like monster bitch 3000 crazy lady who
Mega
hasn't
bitch.
hasn't slept more than 4 hours a night for the past week and a half, and
Yeah.
you just kind of come untethered, you know.
But it's difficult to find that balance, especially when we're talking about like how people have to work so much and so
Yeah.
hard now and that kind of stuff, and balancing those things that
I
you
don't work
are,
that hard.
there's less.
Just full disclosure, I don't work that hard or that much.
Wow. Just not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah. Check your privilege.
Yeah, my job isn't really a job.
Check your easy work privilege.
My fun, satisfying work privilege.
But it is like, you burn yourself out. Like, I find myself definitely grumpier these days
Yeah.
than
No,
I
it's
used to
really
be.
bumming me out a lot.
I really like, it's bumming me out. I'm like, I used to be like pretty damn cheerful.
Yeah.
Come on, you used to be fun, man. What's
changed.
happened
Just
to
a
you?
bummer.
Yeah.
You've changed.
I'm also just tired of like when people are like, "How are you?" and I'm like, "I'm tired."
I just
Yeah.
can't
I'm
even.
Tired of having that answer.
don't
I'm tired of
wanna-
being tired.
Too tired to like engage and just even have a detailed conversation about how
exactly.
you're doing.
But you're on the tail end of
Yeah, I've like, I
this
mean,
insane work cycle.
for sure. Like in the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, it's me putting other things to the side, like art and things like that,
Yeah.
to just like, all right, well, I'm just going to try and sleep more at least, and like build that up a little bit, and that's helped for
Yeah.
sure.
Get out of that sleep debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's hard when
It's
you feel like
massive.
you have things to do. You feel like you don't deserve to sleep, and you actually fight it off.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're like, I could sleep or I could work on this, but you're doing like a shittier version of what you would do if you just had
Yeah.
a fucking nap.
Yeah,
If you're capable of napping. I don't know. Are you good at napping?
I am now
Nice.
for sure.
Awesome.
No, it is something. Or yeah, like I mean, I always got a long list of stuff I need to do. I think everybody kind of feels that way.
Yeah, I guess it's part of just being grown.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
So do we want to touch on like the difference between guilt and regret?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like what guilt means to you and then what regret means?
Well, I mean, you can be guilty without, or you can feel guilty without it being your fault. Whereas regret, I feel like implies ownership over your decision making.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you can feel guilty about something you did without necessarily regretting it. I think.
Well,
as well,
exactly,
right?
right? So it doesn't have to be any, like, say you feel guilt because you worked too hard to put your kids through school, but don't regret it because you know that gave them a better life and
Yeah.
that they,
Yeah, like
Visit.
you're guilty about maybe not spending
Yeah.
enough time with them or something like that, but also.
you don't regret it because you realize how that was necessary in the time or something like that.
Or what about guilt and regret of the bereaved, like after someone's passed?
Like you mean like you regret somebody passed and you regret maybe not having a conversation with them or something like
Yeah.
something you.
There's something in the air that you didn't clear,
Yeah.
something that like an apology that someone didn't accept, or like that would be guilt, and then more like regret would be more you regretting not approaching someone about something.
I guess guilt is kind of like the emotional reaction to regret a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
guess that's
connected,
true.
but they're not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why people have so much issue with talking about death and dying is because they have regrets and shame that they're carrying around with them in their relationships.
Shame.
Shame is that big one,
Shame.
big spooky feeling.
Yeah, and everyone always does. I mean, everyone has that like, oh, I'll tell them that later or something like that, or there's always more time, and then that's
Oh, so like
why
number
we're
3,
here.
I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something I have been very focused on working on for the last few years. I've always been somebody that had a lot of trouble expressing my feelings, and have worked and focus on trying to be honest and just doing that more, because I got to a point where I think you just realize if you're not expressing your feelings, you can't expect people to know how you feel,
Yeah.
and things will never improve if
And
you're
you
not
just like resent them
being
for not
honest.
being able to read your mind
Exactly.
and know what's going on with you, or thinking that the signs are obvious when
Yeah,
people are just in their own shit.
and you're just isolating yourself from everybody else.
I think that's a big part of like kind of the key to, I know I like hammered on this last episode as well, key to having a good death is community, right? Maintaining relationships into your life, maintaining contact with your friends, expressing your feelings, and being honest with yourself about the life you want to live, because those are going to be the people around you as you're dying, right? And if you don't put work into those relationships with yourself and with other people, they're not going to it's not a given.
Yeah.
You can
And
have
what-
18 kids, and if you don't put effort into those relationships, you're still going to be alone at the end of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know?
I'm sure that if you're at the end of your life and you've got all these things that you want to share and things you want to admit or apologize for, it's going to be a little too hard to do it when it's all welled up and built up and you're on your deathbed.
But it's also too little too late, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have a family member who passed away, and he was an alcoholic and was very absent for his children's lives.
Uh-huh.
And at the end, he started saying that I love yous and that I'm sorry's, and it was like, well, shit,
Everyone's
like
cool guy.
our whole lives just went by here, and our time together is short, and we're supposed to, and then they have this pressure to like forgive this person and give them this like satisfying, which I think is not a bad thing. It's really better than not having it at all. But wouldn't it be even better to just like maybe not wait till you're dying to tell people that they matter to you, or to make an effort to spend
Yeah.
time with them?
Then you can
know?
actually have a life where you enjoy the after effects of.
Shit, yeah. And then you don't have to sit there on your deathbed going like, fuck, I missed it. I
Yeah.
missed out on all of this. And putting your loved ones in that position to like put all the baggage aside to,
Yeah, instantly to try and forgive you because you are on your deathbed is a little.
yeah. And then people do this like fucked up thing to cope where they like pretend that the dying person is like a saint, you
Yeah.
know? Like they're like, oh, so sweet, so tender. And it's like, did you guys just like forget the last 25 years? Like, I'm not asking you to hold a grudge, but like, shit, you could.
Talk about it.
It's okay that you're not cool with that,
Yeah.
you know, like if
I don't know. I think this is one that hopefully will go away to a certain degree, because I think as a culture right now we are making a shift in that, in
Yeah.
being more honest about your emotions and how you feel, and like that goes hand in hand with like the kind of, as a culture, we're more focused on like mental health and stuff like that as well, and more aware of these things. And maybe that's like one of the maybe few like positive byproducts of social media and stuff like that, is people have this platform to kind of put the sorry, you all right, Rob?
I'm fine.
Rob banged his knee.
A little bit.
But they have this platform to put their feelings out there and to kind of communicate.
yeah, we just need to get better at listening and not just because it's not just about telling people how you feel.
Yeah.
It's also about listening to the people in their lives and being available for them to tell, because part of the reason why people have regrets is like, it's not just that they didn't say what they wanted to say, it's that they didn't hear the people in their lives when they were telling that what they needed to.
Yeah. Yeah, understanding is just as important.
Well, it's just, it's about bridging that, if you're just going like, this is how I feel and this is what I need, that's kind of what I'm talking about with this person who decided on his deathbed that he was going to make amends for everything. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I get that, and I don't begrudge him that, but at the same time, I mean, there was a huge lack of acknowledgement for the impact that had
Yeah,
on,
for
on
sure.
his loved ones as well. And just be like, if you want those relationships, you have to be able to go both ways, and you have to be able to hear criticism, and you have to be able to hear it when you fucked up, and be available for that and be accountable for that.
Yeah, it's not really being completely honest if you aren't willing to recognize your mistakes and own up
Yeah.
to them as well. You're just kind of unloading them and then dipping out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yes, you want the courage to express your feelings, but in order for that to be truly meaningful, you have to be open to other people in your life expressing their feelings as well. Not just about you, but just be present for them in their lives, Because that's...
Yeah, it does ring hollow when if you've lived a troubled family life and then you admit to your grief and guilt on your deathbed, and everyone's like, I guess we forgive him. We have to.
We have
He's
to.
dying.
We have no choice.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't do anything worthwhile in your life, is your death have any meaning then? Does it really matter if
I mean,
you
that's
didn't have any impact and
that's
you
People-
kind of
kind
just did shitty stuff?
that kind of leads back to the topic of legacy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like your
And that's what
family, your
this kind
family
of
in a
is
lot of
as
ways
well.
is your legacy. The people around you, your community is your legacy. So if you're shitty to your family and your community, you're
Yeah,
not
what's-
going to have a good legacy.
Yeah, if you only had negative impact.
What's it all worth,
Which
and
very
there's...
few people only have negative impacts, but I guess it's a balance too, right? Like,
I think it's a personal thing. Like a person can have, like if they're really truly horrible to you, particularly as an individual, they can have a terrible impact on you, but maybe like not to the world. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of people, like I could name probably 5 off the top of my head,
Like purely evil
that are
people.
purely evil and had no benefit to the world.
H.H. Holmes.
Okay. I don't
That's
know
one.
him.
He's a serial killer.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
There's
You
a
know,
movie
like-
You know a
starring
lot about serial
DiCaprio coming
killers,
out.
hey?
He might have been nice to his
Yeah.
mom. You know, might have been a good son.
I wish I'd let myself be happier. What does that even
That's an interesting one I read. Do you
mean?
want to read what she kind of says about that?
Yeah. So they say this is a surprisingly common one. Maybe many did not realize until the end that happiness is a choice. They had stayed stuck on old patterns and habits. The so-called comfort of familiarity overflowed into their emotions, as well as their physical lives. Fear of change had them pretending for others and to themselves that they were content, when deep within they longed to laugh properly and have silliness in their life again. Ooh, that's a good one.
No shortage of that here.
Yeah, silliness is a lifesaver for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Being able to just be comfortable not being serious all
Yeah.
the time. Like I had like a lot of family members when I was younger that I thought never had a funny bone in their body. But it's not the case really. Like I see them now that I'm adult laughing and
Mm-hmm.
sending poop emojis to each other and it's like
Cute.
old people are just as silly as us.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally,
but-
if not sillier.
Yeah. So but yeah, I think it's just such an important part of life to be able to laugh
Yeah.
at farts.
I think you have to be comfortable with yourself to be able to do that. To not take yourself seriously.
Sorry. Wait, is that
That's mine.
I'm not sure if it's my
Yeah.
laptop. or
Sorry,
you.
it's my
Oh.
speaker.
It's okay.
But yeah, you have to be, because if you're not comfortable with yourself, you can't take the risks of making yourself look like an idiot and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
and that's just like doing shit you've never done before. You know, it's not necessarily being a goofball. It's like trying something new as an adult. You know,
Mhm.
dancing. You know,
Yeah.
not caring so much what other people think.
There's a
Is
car
that even
alarm now.
necessary?
We apologize for the sound
Sorry.
pollution today. It's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
My laptop is now on silent. Speaker's off.
Yeah.
Car alarm seems to have
It's good.
sorted itself out. Anyway. Where were we?
Just don't take it so seriously, Rob.
I'm
Just gotta
sorry. It's like
relax.
the one thing in my life that I try to take seriously. is
Choose
these
to be
recordings.
happy.
I am so happy. I am so happy.
But it's like, it sucks if you're living a life where you don't want to try anything new
Yeah.
because you're afraid of looking like a fool. You know, like that's, I think, something that really cuts out
But-
happiness.
But you
Yeah.
are responsible for your own happiness, and I think that's kind
Yeah.
of like what she's saying, right? With like the choice thing, where it's not necessarily just being like, oh, well, I'm going to choose to be happy today, and like forcing yourself, especially people that have like depression and things like that, mental illness.
yeah. Have you tried not being depressed,
Yeah.
guys? Could
Yeah.
you just turn that frown
Thanks.
upside
Yeah.
down?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
But
for
it is
that.
it is something that you
Pearl of
have
wisdom.
to. It's like we were talking about. You have to recognize negative behaviors and stuff like that, and just make small decisions to try and change them and get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
just recognizing when you're thinking about things in a way that you don't have to think about them. You know, if you're always going to kind of the worst case scenario, or if you're one of those people who like it rains and you're like, of course this would happen to me. And you're
Yeah.
like, bitch, it just rains sometimes, you know? Like,
Ye-
it's not a personal attack against
Yeah.
you when something happens that you don't like, you know? Like, you can still be bummed out about stuff, but you don't have to internalize it, you know?
Get off the cross, Jesus.
It's yeah. Why didn't anybody just tell him that?
Yeah. What's
You don't need
what
to
are you
be up there.
complaining
You
about?
know,
Just get
you're
off the
limiting
cross.
yourself
quit
in your
making-
mind, man.
Quit making yourself such a martyr.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Man.
No, but it is. I think. Yeah, it is. It's difficult to kind of make those changes and things like that. But you are responsible for it.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
You're responsible for your attitude.
it helps having a community and stuff like that too. But you just have to recognize, like, even if you're having anxious thoughts or something like that, to kind of recognize that they are that, and then, like, accept them and kind of feel them, I guess, but know that that's what they are and they're not.
Well,
like,
just know what they're stemming from and then change it.
yeah.
But
That's
also,
the
there's people
key
who
thing.
find comfort in being unhappy because it's familiar to them.
Yeah.
You know, some people really
Man,
self-identify through suffering. I
I've
don't
been
know
in
if
that
you.
space.
We've all been.
Yeah.
Everyone's
depression
been
makes narcissists of us all. It
everyone's
really does.
been in a place where you've been sad and you listen to sad music to be sadder.
Yeah.
Everyone's been there.
And it's
which is fine unless you stay there
Yeah.
and you go, everything. Because I definitely have had this, right? Like, because I had some shit happen and I was like, who I am is defined by all this bad shit.
yeah.
You know, and then it started to feel like I am only important if I'm suffering. You know, the things I say only have meaning if it was because of my pain, you know?
Yeah.
And then you become, well, the most obnoxious type of person to be around, for one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And nobody wants to be around someone like that. And then you go, see, this is exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about me.
Yeah.
And then
Everything
you,
bad happens to me.
yeah, so people do define themselves and who they are as people by how much they suffer, and that is very much a decision.
Yeah, it becomes
know?
your baseline and stuff like that. But it makes it a lot easier to be silly and be happy when you realize that you're not the center of the universe and that
Yeah.
people care about you, but no one's really thinking about you that much.
Yeah.
No one's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you.
Except maybe your mom.
If you're doing
Yeah,
something
yeah.
or trying something for the first time and like sucking at it, you know, like no one's going like they really suck at that. Not really,
Unless
you
they're
know.
assholes.
Yeah, and those
Which
people don't.
those
fucking,
people do exist.
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah.
matter, you know, because
Yeah, that
obviously
opinion is-
they're distracting from their own feelings of inadequacy. You know, when you get embarrassed because you see someone fall or something, what you're feeling is not a reaction to them. It's a feeling of seeing yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like.
I
What
can't
about,
watch.
What about if you laugh at them?
Well, that's exactly the same thing, right?
that's
like
called Schadenfreude.
we laugh out of relief
Yeah.
when we're laughing
Yeah.
at people suffering. We're laughing because it's not us.
It didn't happen to
I will
you.
say that on that note, I don't like The Office. I hate The Office 'cause it's all
Fair enough.
just like
I
there's
love it.
moments that I've enjoyed, but like it's all just cringe humor and
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and I'm like I can't be in that space. I don't
love
like it. I don't like
If I'm
feeling
in a,
bad for
I have
people.
to be in the right mood to watch The Office, but if I'm in that mood, it satisfies that Schadenfreude, that taking pleasure in other people's
Yeah.
pain.
Mm-hmm.
It satisfies that so much, and I love that feeling.
Yeah.
But I'm like
I
an-
get really upset and uncomfortable.
I'm like a carpet bomber of awkwardness, so I just
You're like,
I'm
it's
not
not
satisfied
me. Thank
if
goodness.
well I don't know. I'm like a 48-year-old dad named Greg already because I just want everyone around me to be embarrassed by my actions.
yeah.
That's fun though when
It
it's
is fun.
you when you're being awkward and dumb.
Yeah, it's
I
just-
enjoy doing that.
To me, that's the best form of comedy, and I think that's why I like The Office so much.
Yeah.
And Michael Scott as a character.
Yeah, I think I enjoy that when it's done intentionally. When like I guess if it was like a fictional character purposely being weird or making
Yeah.
people uncomfortable, or not like just making people uncomfortable. And then I don't know. I just don't. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but
It's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That show's
For a lot
huge.
of
People love
people.
it. Why we like watching fucking videos of people falling down or doing
like
stupid
fail-
things as
fail
well. Like
compilations.
because especially if they're doing something
On YouTube.
stupid, you can be like, well, they deserved it because they're stupid and
Yeah.
I'm smart,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
can laugh.
That would
or
be
even if
me.
they didn't deserve it, you're just like, I'm just glad that didn't happen to me.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Damn, that sucks for you.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that people could be happy at their jobs until I met Adam, and he had like 100% job satisfaction. At the
Yeah.
time he was doing youth work and teaching drums. Now he's doing youth work full time. And it totally ruined working for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, shit. It was so much easier when I thought like work was just shit, and then you live your life when you get home.
Yeah.
But he would be like energized from his work, and I would be exhausted from mine.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking bullshit. And now I get to like play with dogs and kids, and it's like they're pumped and so creative and so silly.
Such creative dogs.
Well, the dogs are really funny. Like they're really
You should
funny.
see the art
Like,
the dogs make.
I have one dog. She like I
Paw
let her out of
painting.
her crate, and she always brings her blanket to show me
Yeah.
out of her crate in her mouth, and she drops it out. She's so excited, and then she runs back and she grabs her other blanket, and she shows me all of her toys before we go for a walk, and she's
Aw.
just pumped, you know. And then, you know, like it's just like the best time of their day, and you get to
Yeah.
run around, you
Yeah.
get to play games with them, and they're just like excited. I won't run for a bus, but I'll run for a dog. No problem. It's like the only time I like
That should be our first shirt.
really
I-
get
I
into it.
won't run for
I
a bus, but
ran
I'll run
for a drink
dog.
last night, and that was the last time I ran in a long time.
Ran for
And
a
that
drink?
says a lot about
That's
me.
really sad. Ooh.
the hall wasn't licensed. They got their liquor license revoked for whatever reason, and so we ran to the breakwater. We were at the breakwater for all of 5 minutes last night,
Oh yeah.
and we ran to the breakwater to get one beer. I was like, I don't remember the last time I ran. I'm exhausted. I'm glad I had a beer though.
I guess I'll run for the kids too. I told you I had to like run to one of the kids because they decided to pet a dog.
Oh, well, that's like a double whammy.
Yeah, I was like,
You're
girl,
running for a
I
kid and a
feel
dog."
you. I know that you want to pet this dog, and believe me, I understand, but you can't run out of the playground to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Can't just run up to a random dog either.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Even if it's a safe dog, that
you don't
owner
know
might
that,
be
right?
pretty unhappy
you
with
don't
a
know that.
dirty
And-
little kid.
Going back to that job satisfaction thing, though, that was something that I think I realized real young. I think specifically from seeing my dad and like him not really enjoying his job very much. And I think I like being very young, realizing like, oh, that's a thing you have to do for at least 40 hours of your week
for 40
every
years.
week for your entire life.
Yeah.
And I knew, in hindsight now, maybe part of it was like me having ADD and not really knowing about it, but like realizing like I can't do that. That can't be my life. I have to find some way to enjoy my day to day. It just seems like I would end up on my deathbed regretting it because
Yeah.
I spent my whole life doing this thing that made me miserable.
Yeah.
And there's no point to
you
that.
have to have like a really strong separation between your work life and your life.
Yeah.
Or you have to love what you do.
I mean, some people are capable, like it doesn't bother them,
Yeah,
right? Like,
I'm not capable of that.
Yeah.
I cared about so many stupid jobs because I needed to care about it for myself. You know, like if I was going to spend 8 hours a day
Yeah.
doing something, I would just try my best to do it. And I would just like alienate myself for jobs I wasn't supposed to care about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's that weird, like you see it a lot now of like millennials aren't working these industries or whatever. It's like they don't want to do this job. They think they're better than that. It's like, no,
No.
they recognize life is more than that and they don't want to slave away and waste their whole fucking life. Like,
Yeah.
they're just more aware of these things. And also, you're the generation that spent the entire time telling us we could do anything, and then now that we're like, we want to try stuff, you're like, no.
I didn't mean that.
That's
I
not a
meant,
job.
I
That's
meant,
not a real job.
I meant
Yeah.
do what we did.
Yeah.
Work in
But
mines.
do anything that we did.
Yeah.
You can pick
Yeah.
any of these
Yeah.
7
Of this
prescribed
list.
jobs.
I
One
fucking
something
Four of
Love-
them,
Father did.
4 of them are overseas now.
I fucking love my jobs because they're not that important. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't take up my whole life.
Yeah.
But I can give my all while I'm there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and not have that be criticized or, you know, like reflect poorly on me, you know, like I'm I'm just a dog walker, but I'm like the best dog walker.
But you're making a difference too in like these kids' lives and like, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
like there's an impact beyond like like my entire working life just struggled with the idea of like I'm just showing up to work to make somebody else more money than what
Yeah.
I'm making.
That's the living someone else's
and it's hard to
dream
think about
thing.
like the
Yeah.
fact that you're helping people enjoy food because that's really what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
If
fuck
you're looking
that, I
for
don't
like,
care.
That's-
if you're looking
that's,
for like
I
a
mean-
direct impact, you know, like that's what you're like
Yeah.
day to day doing, you
you're
know,
giving people
moment to moment.
a pleasant time, but that's not really
But it's
who gives a shit.
It's limiting, right?
When I was in kitchens, like originally when I was just cooking, I had a blast, and that was enough.
Yeah,
for me.
me too, yeah.
Like it's just a fun place to work. If you're working
It's
with a bunch of
dynamic,
buddies,
it's moving.
everyone's like
There's
punk
music
rock,
going
hip
usually.
hop.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just a fun environment, and like you get to work with knives and fire.
yeah, and like yeah.
it's just like
And it's kind of high pressure, but you do feel a sense of accomplishment when you've made it through
Yeah,
certain things.
so there's
or-
You
like-
get a sense of flow.
you get the flow state for sure. And
Yeah.
I had way more fun in kitchens when I was just working online than when I finally moved into management.
Mm-hmm.
And even that was fun in the beginning because it was like, oh, responsibility, cool.
Yeah.
Like, adulting, I'm doing it. But
Yeah, until you have to reprimand someone or work on schedules or all that shit that really
and
sucks
then
about it.
Once you got into that mode, or at least once I did, I started caring so much about this job that was making me marginally more money than just line cooking.
Yeah.
And I was just killing myself,
It's
breaking
taking
my
up
back,
so much more of your life.
I think that's and that's a big thing about that industry is I think it is fun
and not
stuff
having as much
in-
fun, which is I think the key thing.
Yeah, sorry. It is fun in the beginning because you're also younger and you have more energy and
Yeah.
you are like in that environment, and then it just gets
And you're figuring it
more-
out.
Yeah, and
It's
then
new
it
and
just gets
exciting,
more and
it's
more
loud.
draining as time goes on because you just don't have. It's demanding and you just don't have that energy,
Yeah.
right?
I love doing like mindless jobs where you can just like do it and you don't have to think about it. Like I love like remember when there was like the light parade or something this Christmassy time?
Like the
truck
train
parade?
thing?
Yeah, the truck thing. Yeah, the
Oh,
truck
the truck
thing.
thing. Yeah.
And I made like maybe 20 hot chocolates in a row.
Yeah.
That was my best night of work there. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, I could do this all the time. You know, I used to work at a coffee shop in Banff, and the line would be like around the block in the morning, and I would just spend hours just making coffees, not even having to talk to anyone, just.
Yeah, that's
and
all right.
it was awesome because it was like I'm doing something, I'm moving. You don't really have time to look at the clock and be like, oh fuck, I wish I was at home right now.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you know, and you just go home. You don't have to carry it with you. You don't have to like agonize, like, did I handle this situation correctly? Or did I, you know, like it's nice to go home unburdened because I've worked the other jobs too, where it's just like senior care is something I am glad I only did for a short period of time because I basically lived there.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you said that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. I couldn't not take it home because I cared way too much.
Yeah.
You know, probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
Healthy.
there's the other side of that too, right? Where it is draining and stuff like that. It just depends on. Yeah, like some people are built for that type of thing, and some people aren't. I guess in the sense that some people can leave it a little bit more or have a little bit more distance.
Yeah, it's tricky because it's like if you have too much distance, then you're not effective at the job.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you are too emotionally involved, obviously you get burnt out, and then you have nothing left to give.
Yeah.
It's just nice to work a job where it's like I can be emotionally vested while I'm there and also go home and have it be done. You know, that's the balance, right?
Yeah.
You want to care about what you do, but you also want to have a life. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would that look like for you, Jordan?
What would that look like?
Yeah.
Specifically?
Put him on the spot. Why
I
don't ya?
mean, if I can
Like,
make
if you
a
could do
living
anything.
making art,
Yeah.
the dream is I would love to have a studio, even in like a garage in the backyard or something like that would be amazing. Work on comics as a day job, and not that like as like a day job is like, oh, that's what I'll do, but like something I love doing, and then
Yeah.
also on the side, you know, putting together shows and exhibitions for gallery work and stuff
Yeah.
like that, having
Cool.
that balance, and then maybe not being single forever and that kind of stuff as well. But if we're
Like
just talking,
family.
yeah, if we're just-
Forever alone.
yeah, if we're just
Aw.
talking, if we're just talking like career wise and like that kind of thing, like that would be amazing. Just be able to, but just being able to make art and live off that's the dream, right?
I feel so confident that you're going to have that.
I hope so.
I feel very confident that you're going to have that. And the reason I asked you that, not Rob, is because Rob's already working towards his dreams.
I mean,
You're doing it.
a
It's new.
dream. Yeah. It's
But-
like, it's weird because I'm in a brand new industry that I don't really know anything about. And I feel a lot like when I got out of college and started cooking,
Mm-hmm.
like professionally, where it's like, I think this is it. I think I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, but I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm learning new shit every day. And it's great to be part of a team that will train me to do what I want to do. But it's also scary because it's like, if I move out of this role that I really like right now, that's really fun, and into another role, am I going to have fun or am I going to hate
Right.
it? And it's like, but that's how I advance and eventually make money to support myself again. So it's, yeah, dream job, sure. Dream forever job, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
But there's something
I
to
mean-
be said about moving towards your dreams, right?
yeah. True.
As opposed to be working in something that you know you're going to leave.
If I could say
Yeah.
that my dream would be making Death have 1 million followers.
Oh, yeah.
That would also be
If this could
fantastic.
just
This
be
would
our
be-
full-time
This
jobs.
could be the gig. That,
That
would
would
be
be-
the dream.
Yeah. Hell
But
yeah.
or something like that.
yeah, I'm okay with that
a
as well.
creative
Yeah.
pursuit would be ideal.
Yeah.
What about you, Jasmine? What do you want your life to look like?
What would a no regret life look like for you?
Well, I definitely want to be present to raise children.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say president. I was like,
Fuck
I want to be
that.
president of
you're,
Canada.
I was like, you're Canadian. That's not going to happen.
No. I would have no interest in that. There was a time as like a child I was like, I'll be prime minister. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to work that hard.
Probably do a better job than Justin Trudeau.
What kind of politicians we need, I think, are the ones that don't want to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So president, and then
Yeah. I want to be able to be available enough so that my kids don't grow up in a daycare, if that's possible.
yeah.
It's a good goal.
You know, but for myself, I want to do something that is creative as well, where I have some freedom. I really like learning more about kind of the death community and stuff like that, because there is so much room to grow. So it's really exciting to kind of be on the ground floor of something. Definitely, Adam and I always talk about running like a community-based nonprofit someday.
Yeah.
Like a youth
Small
mentorship,
goals,
or
totally small goals.
he's gonna be the guy that like runs for office at some point.
Yeah,
and
I could see
my
Adam as
sordid past is gonna
mayor
come to
of a-
light, and I'm gonna
I'd-
have to defend it as a feminist. And like,
I'd vote for him with that mustache.
oh
Absolutely.
yeah, he's got like a Jack Layton mustache, and
He
don't we
does.
all miss that guy?
I do.
minus the cancer, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think it was
still
just
early.
I don't think he died of mustache cancer.
No,
Are you sure?
the mustache was fine.
Yeah.
The prognosis is
Listen, you have
Sorry,
mustache
Jack.
cancer, but if you just shave, it'll be gone.
No.
absolutely not.
I'd
My
rather
mustache
die.
is who I am.
And let down my constituents. I would rather die.
Okay. We didn't talk about deathbed confessions at all, but we kind of touched on regrets.
We can do. I think that could be
But it's not really.
a separate
Yeah.
episode of like I did some reading of some deathbed confessions and stuff like that.
It's
a
hard
lot
to
of
find
it.
reputable sources.
Yeah, it
It's
was.
like-
I worked hard to try and
Yeah.
find some like interesting historical deathbed confessions, and the one that I could find was like the Loch Ness monster photo.
Oh, the guy
Oh,
saying that it was.
nice. Is
Yeah.
it fake?
Yeah, a lot of them were just like anonymous Reddit. Like
Yeah, you're
See,
like,
I
oh,
was like
sure.
CNN. I was like, I don't think
Well,
CNN
it's
is the
just like,
greatest, but I was like, all right, at least this is like kind of reputable.
Yeah.
And I clicked on it. I was like,
I
these
read
are
the
all
same
cults from
one.
Reddit.
I don't doubt that some of them are genuine and stuff like that. But
Sure.
It's a tricky thing because they're done in private moments and there's no way to follow up on
Yeah,
them.
and a lot of the other ones that I
So-
found, I went through a few lists. A lot of the other ones I found were like people confessing murders and stuff like that. And I was like,
yeah,
that's a
we
little
don't- we
true
don't want it to get,
crimey.
murdery
We're
up
trying
in
to
here.
avoid.
Or
I-
like another one that I liked was a man told his grandson all the horrible things he did in World War II,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and that was like so traumatic for the grandson that he
Mm-hmm.
almost took his life.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like, thanks, granddad.
I've heard like a
Fuck.
few of them firsthand. Usually it's like war stuff.
Yeah.
Or it's like they diddled some kids and
Yeah.
are
Or they
confessing to it.
Bury
or,
their landlord
it's-
under
yeah,
the
or
it's-
porch.
yeah.
People doing some terrible thing and then being like, I don't want to go to hell, so I'm going to tell somebody
Yeah.
this. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I read
Fuck you.
one. Of
I
a
don't want to be a
woman-
part of your relief here.
Yeah, I read one of a woman that she murdered her daughter. She hit her with an axe, and then she left the house, and then she waited until her son came and found the body of his sister, which is a fucked up thing to do to your son.
Yeah.
And then came back and acted like she
Acted
didn't know
all
what was going
shocked.
on, and then they went through a bunch of suspects, including her son, because he was the one that found her.
Yeah.
And this went on for years and years. And then on her deathbed, she confessed to that son that, and she was like, "Don't tell anybody until you die," is what she said. Like on your deathbed, then you can tell people. And he like told people, like the
How
police
about
next
no,
week.
grandma?
Yeah, like
yeah.
What
or
about
like,
that?
You killed my sister, and now you
Yeah.
like fuck you. And I
Okay.
almost got charged for it.
This reminds
Wow.
me of, fuck, I can't remember the name, and I definitely need to know this. The white woman in the 50s who accused this guy of groping her, and
The one where she went home with a black guy.
well, he's a black guy, but he just got totally beaten to death, and then
Yeah.
the press leaked the photo, and it was like this.
Okay, I might
She-
be thinking
she-
a different one. There's one
I
where
have to find this. It's really important, and I can't remember. Like,
There's a similar one where a guy
I guess we are talking about
gets
these,
falsely accused of raping his friend, and he gets sent to jail. And then on her deathbed, she confesses that he was innocent, and he gets released.
There's a lot of
Which
those
is-
stories
yeah,
of people going to
it's like-
prison for 20 years and then getting released because somebody confessed on their deathbed to the crime. It's
So that's really all I could find.
Emmett Till. It's Emmett Till.
Emmett Till.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
It's just really important because it kind of changed the face of the civil rights movement. So that was in 1955. He's a 14-year-old African American who was lynched in Mississippi.
oh yeah, I do know this
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
he was accused of offending a white woman in her family's grocery store. And the killers were completely acquitted.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever saw this picture of him, but
I think
he
I have.
was absolutely pulverized. And then, yeah, some newspapers started to write about it and posted the photo, and it changed a lot of shit. So, and the lady who accused him, she confessed on
Yeah.
her deathbed.
Of course.
Yeah. It's like, fucking bitch.
What a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Don't frame other people for crimes.
Well, especially like a special shout out to white women who blame black men for crimes that they didn't commit.
Yeah.
Fuck you. That's like
Yeah.
straight up, you're a piece of shit. You know, like, how dare you? You know, like, or even like it was a black guy, or it was like a Latino guy or
Yeah.
whatever, because they
It
know
made
the
me
cops are just
uncomfortable.
gonna believe that rather than look into, you know, the credibility of the white woman saying it. And I think that is an exploitation of, it's just extremely fucked up, and I
Yeah.
hate it a lot.
No.
So-
100% agreed.
So the
We're
other
all on
one,
the same page
the
here.
other one that I have here that I was talking about was 1975. There was a woman named Alice Mock, and she was drinking with a guy named Waylon Camille Jr. She invited him back to her apartment. They slept together. Or no, wait, no, they didn't. They drank and he passed out, and she stole money from him. And she realized if he woke up and found out the money was gone, he'd know that she took it. And she was worried her landlord would find her a white woman with a African American in bed. So to cover it up, to save herself from being evicted, she called the police, said that he raped her and robbed her. He was arrested and charged with sexual assault. The DA gave him a choice. He could go to trial and risk getting 45 years in prison, or plead guilty and take 15. And this happens a lot in the criminal justice system. He took the 15, even though he was completely innocent. And then she confessed on her deathbed in 1986, and he was released from prison after serving 12 years of his 15-year sentence for
my
something he didn't
God.
do because he was robbed.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm just so pissed off at that.
It's shitty that like that happened in the 60s.
That was the 70s, 1976.
And that shit is just still happening.
A
suck,
black
man.
guy did it.
It's not-
Guy did it, guys.
Yeah, well, it's not just white women blaming men of color. It's everyone's shitty.
Well, yeah,
People
I know,
just do that
but
shit.
especially that one.
Yeah, it's all shitty.
Yeah,
Because there's this very specific dynamic of white fear based around black men's access to white women that has a cultural significance, and
Yeah.
I think it's I don't think it's worse than some other things, but I think it does have a very specific type of
One thing.
heinousness involved.
I think we've strayed pretty far off topic here.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of
Fired up
that's
about
I don't
it.
know if any of that's usable.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just
that's
needed-
fair.
Just needed to talk about that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Sometimes we'll
Yeah.
rant. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Follow us on all the social medias.
Yeah.
Social medias.
Hated that.
At
SMs.
Death Pod. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And deathpod@gmail.com. Send us an email,
Yeah.
Someone
Wanna
send
hear
us
from
an
you.
email, please.
please.
I hope you guys all enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed talking about our deep personal fears and regrets.
Yeah. There's more of that to come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Follow me on Instagram at Jordan Bulges.
Yeah, why not? Don't
Look at the
follow me.
art.
Yeah. No, that's private.
Yeah, I'm not very private.
No.
I don't think my Instagram's that. Unless you want to see wrestling videos of people getting smashed through tables.
Yeah, which
I mean,
I enjoy
sure.
it.
Can we?
Yeah.
I really have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Guys,
Okay.
So.
Jasmine's gotta pee. Thanks for listening. As always, remember,
We're all gonna die.
all gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Run!